In the market for an MMO mouse but don't know which one to go for? Well, in this video, I'm going over the Razer, Logitech, and Corsair mouse and giving you all the reasons why the Corsair Scimitar reigns supreme. Friends, I have gotten the question many a times. What is the best mouse to use for MMOs, things like Final Fantasy XIV, one of my favorites, World of Warcraft, and so many others? And here's the deal. I do have my favorite, and I'm going to give you many reasons as to why, but I do want to do a walkthrough of several options on the market that are available for, mouses specifically made for MMOs, show you some of their pros and cons, and ultimately land you on what I believe is the best. Now, I've been playing MMOs for a long time. Started playing RuneScape back in like 2002, started playing World of Warcraft back in 2006. So I've played a lot of MMOs, but honestly, I've only been using an MMO mouse for like the past 2 years. And it revolutionized my gameplay. Being able to have 12 buttons on the side of your mouse, literally when you use modifiers, you can actually have 48 buttons, literally pressing with your thumb. Don't need to interfere with your movement or anything like that, which is huge because movement's very important. And just eventually you're gonna run out of keybinds. Your keyboard is not going to be able to have 48 keys within reach of your hand. And so for me, I really believe that an MMO mouse is a huge advantage. I know at first it can seem overwhelming. A lot of people might think like, oh yeah, but when I start using all of the buttons, I get lost and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you why I believe at the end of this video why the Corsair Scimitar Pro is the best MMO mouse on the market. But I do want to show you a few options because I've used many. This perspective is not just going to come from, I love Corsair because I love Corsair. I've used the other MMO mice on the market. I want to show them to you, lay out their pros and cons, and then come back to the Corsair Scimitar as to why I believe it is the best. Check it out. The Razer Naga was my first ever MMO mouse that I ever used. I think back then I purchased my Razer Naga. That was about 6.5 years ago for $110. A lot of money. So one of my first problems with the Razer Naga right off the bat is, as you can tell from these multiple different options, is they're very expensive. The lowest one is $80. $150? Are you kidding me, bro? $100. So right off the bat, they're just expensive. And I think they're good, but I don't think they're great. The Razer Naga is the one that I used. Three negative things for me. One, was very expensive. And I just don't like the price point of Razer products. For me, I think they're just too expensive. Two, there was no texture changes or anything to help you, know where your fingers are, so that know where your thumb is, so that you don't accidentally misclick a button, right? But then three, mine actually broke after about a year. And so I had a Razer MOBA mouse break on me and a Razer Naga both break on me within a year. After that, I stopped using Razer products altogether. And so I just didn't think there was really much that the mouse had to offer, especially for the price. And again, besides the fact that it broke on me, okay, I thought the mouse was good, but I didn't think it was great. I used this for maybe about a year. It was the second MMO mouse that I had used. And I'll be honest, I liked it, but I didn't love it. For me, I'm just not a big fan of Logitech in general. I find their products to be just a little bit bland. I like them to be more aesthetically pleasing, all that kind of stuff. But the pros of this mouse is, one, I thought the price point was pretty good. I think it lists at $60, which even $60 is actually a good price for a high-end mouse. But I think they go on sale pretty frequently for $40, $39.99. I'm not gonna lie, that's a fantastic price for a high-end gaming mouse, especially from a company like Logitech, but especially an MMO mouse with 12 buttons. I thought it was fantastic. And I'll be honest, my mouse, it worked perfectly fine. It never broke on me. I used it for about a year. But like I said, for me, there was nothing special about the mouse that really made it stand out. You can see it's got the 12 buttons on the side, and they've got these, weird curves. And I think they do that to try to help you be able to feel where your finger is and where it isn't, so you don't get lost. Because if it's just flat all the way across, then you can't tell like what number I'm actually on, and 12 buttons in a small area is quite a bit. That's why some people don't like MMO mice, but I promise you, if you'll take the time to get used to it, it'll really take your gameplay to the next level. But honestly, for me, I had nothing really bad to say about the Logitech G600. I used it for about a year, but I just didn't really have anything good to say about it either. And the only other thing that I will say that was a negative for me was, you'll notice here on my Corsair mouse, how on the right side, there's like this, you know, this ring finger holder where your ring finger goes. If I had the right hand on it, you'd see it. But you'll be able to see one of your finger just kind of rests right here. And the Corsair has like a textured little place for you to keep your finger. On the Logitech mouse, what I thought was really weird was that little ring finger rest was actually a third mouse button. And I found it awkward. I found myself accidentally always clicking it. And I eventually had to just go into the settings and just disable it. Just disable the third mouse button because it was odd. It was strange. I couldn't find a use to it, especially in an MMO where I already had 12 buttons on the side and 2 profile buttons on top. So again, nothing really bad about the Logitech mouse. I thought the price was great, but nothing really good. And it was just, you know, it's just a plain black mouse, so kind of blah. Sure, there's some very limited RGB options. The mouse worked, it didn't break on me, but I didn't like it. And I didn't find the, you know, the texture of the 12 buttons to really help me keep track to where my fingers were. I just, overall, I thought it was decent. The price is good, but I wouldn't have recommended it. Now, I've used the Logitech for a year. I've used the Razer Naga for a year. And now I have found what I believe, and which is the point of this whole video, the best MMO mouse for any MMO, especially games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, and that is the Corsair Scimitar. This thing is amazing. It is at a solid price point of $80, a little bit more on the high end. And I know you might be like, well, Susie, but you just kind of talked about how Razer's expensive and theirs is $80. But here's the deal. I don't think you're really getting much value out of the $80 for the Razer Naga, but you are getting it $80 out of the Corsair. And Corsair has sales. Razer doesn't really have sales very frequently. Corsair doesn't have them all the time, but Corsair, in my opinion, from what I've seen, has more sales than Razer does. And I think this mouse is very worth the $80. A few things. One, for me, the 12 buttons can be a little bit overwhelming, and it can kind of feel like maybe you're getting lost with your 12 buttons. Here's what Corsair does better than any other company on the market right now. You're gonna see this. I have actually here. It's a Corsair Scimitar mouse right here. You can see a few things. I talked about not getting lost, right? Your thumb not getting lost, you being able to tell where you are without, obviously, you don't want to have to look down at your mouse to see where you are. And so if you see the 12 buttons on the side of this mouse, the first row, 1, 2, and 3 is not textured. The second row, 4, 5, 6, not only has that little like line on the 5, so you know you're in the middle of all the buttons, but you can see it's textured. So I can tell where my finger is. And then row 7, 8, 9 is untextured, so you can know where you are. And then again, at 10, 11, and 12 goes back to being textured. So wherever my hand is, after you build some muscle memory, you are able to tell where your mouse is, which is incredible. The texture, it's absolutely incredible. It's also got a nice textured feel on the right side where it kind of holds your ring finger, which is nice. Remember, the Logitech has a third mouse button here, which I just found really odd and weird. This is not a button. You don't click this. This is not like an M3 or anything like that. This is just a nice kind of textured feel. Got like a rubber feel to hold your finger up, which I think is absolutely incredible. I love the shape of the mouse as a whole. It fits perfectly in my hand. I've got a little bit of a wider palm, so it fits perfectly in my hand, which I think is really great. I love the mouse wheel. The mouse wheel has the perfect amount of texture and clickiness. I don't like fragile, kind of flimsy mouse wheels, and I like there to be like when you can feel the individual scroll. I don't like when it's just like you spin it, it just spins. I like being able to feel the individual scroll, which is really nice. It's got the great click. You can really feel when it clicks down. It's not too light, but not too hard. It's just got the perfect amount for the mouse wheel, which I really absolutely love. But really, here's the big selling point. They have something that is actually exclusive to Corsair. They actually have a fully patented key slider side panel. And what that means is this entire segment of buttons right here, all 12 buttons, this is incredible. Depending on how long or short your thumb is, it comes with a tiny little Allen wrench, and you just, very, very simple, put it in there, loosen it, and you can actually move these either forward or backwards. Forward or backwards, so that if you've got a shorter thumb and you can't reach all the way to the front, move it backwards. You got a longer thumb and and the buttons are too close to your palm, move the buttons forward. And for me, and it's patented, so only Corsair can have it. So it's genius design. Absolutely genius design. Overall, the size is amazing. The aesthetic is great. I love the yellow accent. They do sell it in all black in case it's not your thing. I love the RGB. Comes in the Corsair logo, comes in the wheel, comes in the front, and comes, of course, on the all 12 buttons. And all of this is fully customizable within the IQ software, which is really, really great, that I love. And I think it's absolutely a fantastic mouse. But here's the thing. I have had this mouse for over 2 years. So I've used this mouse longer than I've used any other MMO mouse. Now, my Logitech mouse didn't break on me. I ended up giving it away. It didn't break on me, but it just didn't impress me. 2 of my Razer mice broke on me after 1 year. This bad boy has proven the test of time. I've used it for 2 years. And I don't just play World of Warcraft in my computer room. I bring it out to my living room. I play on the couch while I'm sitting next to my wife. I play out on my back deck with my laptop in the heat, in the humidity. I've dropped it a few times. This thing is a tank. This thing has proven the test of time, and I highly, highly recommend. If you guys are looking to get into MMOs, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, RuneScape 3, any game that's going to require you to have a lot of buttons, I recommend this because, like I said, there's 12 buttons on the side. But then if you couple this with modifiers on the keyboard, you can have up to 48 buttons with an MMO mouse. Now, that's not exclusive to the Corsair mouse. Any MMO mouse can do that. But when you start getting 48 buttons on one mouse, it feels overwhelming. But all the things I mentioned about the texture, being able to move the slider up and down, really, 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 really make this mouse, in my opinion, the best mouse for MMOs on the entire market. And that's not an unbiased view. I have used them all, and this, I promise you, is hands down the best. Well, friends, hope you enjoyed this review of the Corsair Scimitar mouse as well as the others as well. Just giving you my honest thoughts and my experience on what I've used over the past few years. And hey, if you got value out of this video, give it a good old thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, but also let me know which MMO mouse are you using in the comments below. And last but not least, hey, come check out my live stream, SusieLive.com, a stream over on Twitch. Would love to get to know you. Love to come hang out with you. And if you got any follow-up questions, want to learn more about this, any of the tech that I use, any of the products I use, or just want to come hang out and talk video games, I'd love to get to know you. I stream Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We'd love to have you come hang out with us. And friends, we'll see you in the next one.